Omalehem, Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai said to his disciples, to his Talmidim, Tzuru, go out and search, investigate what is the good way a man should cleave to. Is there derech tova, good way a man should cleave to? Now there's another rendition of this that has it as derech yeshora, just way, but the Bnei Yissaschar goes with the good way. What's the good way? And then there are his disciples give a number of positions. Rabbi Eliezer says, Ayin Tova. Ayin Tova is a sympathetic eye that the most of the commentaries, the Rav and the Tiferes Yisrael, go with an interpretation that it's having not being jealous of others. You see somebody has something, it's fine with you. You're happy that the other should have. Then the second position in the Mishnah said, remember, this is, everybody agrees with everything, but it's a question, which is the central motif that should be thematic and thread its way through everything that you do and see. And so Rabbi Yeshua says, Chovetov, a good friend. Being a good friend. Rabbi Yossi says, Shochen Tov, a good neighbor. Rabbi Shimon says, Hareyas Anoila, to anticipate that which is to come. And Rabbi Loza ben Aroch says, Leiv Tov, a good heart. Says Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, in Leiv Tov, everything else is included. So now the question is, number one, where was he sending them? Tzuru, go out and investigate. People of the book, let's take a look at the text. We have Bnei Yissaschar talks about this idea. Reb Tzadok talks about the idea, and the Netziv also mentions that the idea that the first time a concept is mentioned is the core point of what that idea is. And everything else is subordinate. It's like the Av, and everything else is a Teloda. So the first time that Tov, goodness, is mentioned is in relation to Ria, seeing. Vayar Hashem, the Rebbeinu Hashem saw that which he created was good. Now, though it's the divine vision, it's not the vision of a mortal being, but if the word vision is used, then it's there to instruct us that this is central, core, and that it's a prime idea. It's a prime in the sense that others will emerge from that. So Rabbi Eliezer says, Ayin Tova, a sympathetic eye. That's the clue, the indication that the Rebbeinu Shem was teaching us. Rabbi Yeshua says, fine, that is true, but what did the Rebbeinu Shem see? He saw, as it were, if instructive to me, I'm supposed to extrapolate, though again, we're talking about the divine vision, cosmic, it's not surely exactly like the vision of a mere human being, but there is something that I'm supposed to take from it, extract from it, extrapolate from it, and apply to the vision of man, to my understanding of the vision of man. Rabbi Yeshua says, the Rebbeinu Shem saw, viewed light and darkness, or v'choshech, because they were created one in relation to another. On the level that we exist, we cannot conceive of light if we didn't know what darkness was, nor of darkness if we didn't know of light. So that is relationship. Relationship is chovetov. That's the message, the idea that is being communicated. Chovetov, a good friend. Says Rabbi Yossi, but the first or and choshech, we are taught, was mixed together somehow. I always pictured it like the old barbershop poles with the spinning peppermint stick outside the barbershop. That or and choshech were be'ilvuvia. They were somehow spinning around together. Only second stage did the Rebbeinu Shalom separate the or and the choshech, and that separation of the chaverim, of this relationship of light to darkness, separation is boundaries. Boundaries is shochen tov, a good neighbor. Says Reb Shimon, but this concept of or v'choshech, the Rebbeinu Shalom took this or this light, which was too perfect for the level and nature of how man would behave and perform. And therefore, it was hidden away for tzaddikim lost lovely for the future. Now, it's not that the Rebbeinu Shalom stage one thought one thing and stage two thought another thing. The light was created so that it should impact the environment and the world, and then it would be removed because the norm of our behavior would be such that we could only approximate that on the where we are at any given point, and would strive to regain that. Comes along Reb Elazar ben Aroch, and Reb Elazar ben Aroch says, how many words are there in the Torah from Bereshis up till the appearance of Vayar, Ria? There are 32 words. So that everything everybody else said, what Reb Eliezer said, Ayin Teva, what Rabbi Yeshua said, Chovet Tov, what Rabbi Yossi said, Shochen Tov, what Rabbi Shimon said, Haroyas and Leila, that it was put away for tzaddikim, for us at Lovoi, that perfect light is included in those words, in those psukim, slave tov. Everything that everybody else said is included in that. Continues the Bnei Yisoscha that the up till Lag BaOmer, we're going to have a lave days, and from Lag BaOmer until Shavuos, there'll be 17 days, Tov days. This period of time is a period of Lev Tov. And when we will come to Lag BaOmer, then Lag BaOmer, Reb Shimon saw the necessity to bring back some of the light of that original light, that original pristine, pure light, and have that light give us a beacon for our being able to navigate the pathways of Golus. And that beacon Reb Shimon brought back in the Sefer HaZohar, and the Sefer HaZohar was that beacon of light, of the original light. And that's why the custom developed to have midurot, to have bonfires, to celebrate the Lag BaOmer, that Zohar that was brought back by Reb Shimon. Now, let's just kind of get a little bit of a handle on this. Again, when we're dealing with Kabbalistic concepts, we get glimpses, insights, understandings, flashes from that beacon of light. But the Bnei Yissaschar is helping us, so we'll hold his hand and let's see where it's taking us. What is meant by a period of time being designated as a period of Leiv Tov? Well, the Chinuch says that the Korban Omer, which initiates this period of time, is that we just coming out of Mitzrayim, experiencing the extraordinary miracles of the events of the 10 Makkos, and the will climax with the splitting of the sea, but miraculous events. The Rebbeinu Shalom toying with the norms of Teva, of nature. Normally, the Rebbeinu Shalom keeps them in place each day, reinventing them. But he created them as Teva, as it were, because that would be the norm, except for the extraordinary events. The Ramban says at the end of Parashat Bo that the point of the extraordinary was to heighten our awareness that the ordinary is miraculous. Similar to that, because it's being reinvented. The Rebbeinu Shalom makes it re-happen each day. It's not lahavdil, the Aristotelian God who created the world and then departed, went on Social Security. The Rebbeinu Shalom is involved, engaged, micromanaging the world as we understand it, microscopically. And so the man now has given he has Bechira, he has this to relate what level of consciousness, because he's been created B'Tselem Elokim, with this sense of the koach, the ability to choose, to make decisions, to impact his life and the life of others around him. And in turn, but there's another level, he has a consciousness and awareness that he has this ability. And so one of the problems, right, this period of between Pesach, the counting of the Sfira, with the interruption of Lag BaOmer as the unique juncture on our way to climbing the ascent to being able to receive Torah each day, another level of the counting, adding. Bali Musa have said from the Memches Dvorim Shatorah Nichnis Behem correspond the 48 ways in which Torah is acquired is each one of the days of the counting, and the 49th is collecting everything and connecting everything together. Shavuos will be the 50th day. But the man has a sense of loss of heightened consciousness. There's an erosion, there's a dulling that's the nature of being a physical creature, that the sense of awe and wonder loses its threshold, its peak of intensity, and there's an erosion of it. And so that happens in our relationship to other human beings. That was Bayis Sheni, that the sinis chinim, shalom nogu kovid zebezeh, the Talmidim of Rabbi Kiva, that's why the plague took place. Of course, they were on such a level, and we have our principle that the Rebbeinu Shalom is medakdek, is demanding of tzaddikim according to their level, which is uh, ultimately, essentially for their benefit as well, so that any minor infraction should be paid in the mere currency of olam hazeh rather than the dear currency of olam haba. But the Rebbeinu Shalom is exacting with tzaddikim in this world. So they were taken to task. Shalom nogu kovid zeh b'zeh. They didn't treat each other with enough respect, means on their level of what should have been expected of them, given their level. So I'm online, waiting to get into the dining room or on a bus, and somebody jostles me, and I my first impulse is to push back. Right? We don't have the sense. If I was alone on a desert island and I'd been there for an extended period of time, and all of a sudden, this same guy who jostled me pitched up on that desert island. Wow, what a wonderful conversationalist! What a wonderful, interesting imagination this fellow has. What a charming personality. But right now, I don't see that. I'm not focusing on that. So that's the sense of Leiv Tov. There's a period of time to, just like I am expected to see, I get dulled, and I assume that Teva, nature, is a clock that was wound up and not being micromanaged by the divine. That's the way the dulling of my sensitivities. Similarly, in relation to another human being, the world and the people that are the persons that occupy the space in my environment. I lose my sense of awe and wonder of life, and that's what counting of sphere is about. That was the Korban Omer. Before I bring from the new produce from the field, before I bring it didn't just happen because you plant a seed and it decays and it begins to grow, and this human being is comparable to that. I have to have the sense of awe and wonder. Counting Sphira, bringing the Omer, is to bring me that kindness, that the extraordinary of pace, those miracles, or to instruct me that the ordinary is miraculous, providentially guided each note, each on each level. All the electromagnetically guided and divinely instructed where to be and what to do. And man, this creature with free will, now has the choice. Recognize that this is true. It's just not happenstance. It didn't just fall into place. Why do I think that? Because I know that the Masoret. Why do I think that? The history of Am Yisrael is taught me that, the Kuzari says, and others instruct us. And it's reason of the hypotheses in our daily lives. Then I can eat from the new produce. Why? Because then I'm buying into an appreciation. I'm earning the privilege of the kindness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of designing me in such a manner that I can be sustained by this food, which I can participate in growing. Before, don't lose that consciousness. Don't think just the extraordinary. The ordinary is miraculous too. Similarly, don't think that a human being, it's another person, it's just a glob of people, like on a subway rush hour. No. Each individual step back and see that loss of sense of the awe and wonder of nature corresponds to this period of time, the counting of the Omer, the bringing of the Korban of the Omer, the seeing each individual as a Tzelem Elokim, as this unique creation, and my appreciation that this is the time to prepare, to come together, because I'm going to have to reach the point of solidarity that we can complement each other with an E. Perhaps you need it with an I in order to get to it with an E. Complement each other for what our virtues are in order to come to a solidarity, to a unity that will allow us at Sinai, ki ish echad b'lev echad. So I'm going to have this station along the way of this beacon of light, of seeing the uniqueness and bringing it back. And Reb Shimon Bar Yochai said, this light, we're going to need another station to stop, and this light will help. What is that light? It's the light of the original light. It's the light from the Torah that the Rebbeinu Shalom used as the blueprint for creation of the universe. And so we come then from Lev Tov, difference the Tiferes Yisrael says between Ayin Tova and Lev Tov is Ayin Tova, he posits, is something more cerebral. It's more on the mind level. I know that somebody else something is what my allotment might actually. Lev Tov, the blood throughout the entire, the miracle of life with that Lev Tov has now integrated the idea, the cerebral, into the person, into the fullness of the person, and therefore it's more comprehensive, more cohesive, more complete. It's more of a shlemus. And so a period of time can be described as a period of Lev Tov. 32 words up till the appearance of Ria, Tov days, till from Lag BaOmer until the climax of Shavuos. So those of us, if you've ever had the experience of flying over Eretz Yisrael on Lag BaOmer a number of times, I did. I landed on Lag Boma, or took off on Lag Boma, and flying over Eretz Yisrael and seeing the bonfires of the whole country, the dotted with these magnificent sight, beautiful sight, and it's another tzibur, another community, another kehila, another congregation, another community, another grouping of Jews that doing their thing in their way, but nationally connected, nationally celebrating the Torah, the oral law that has, again, we come back to that theme that post bias, destruction of bias Sheni, of the Second Temple, this is what has kept Am Yisrael alive, alert, aware, connected, transcending, and defying all of the, the laws that govern the rise and demise of other nations. Lahavdil. Benisham, I saw a tefillah that we should have the Yeshuas, the Nerfuas. This shir I had in mind should, the Sicha should be for a Fuah Shlema for Reb Mordechai Moshe ben Rocheleah Perlman, so many years, the one of the Rebbe's involved in the hashgacha of the Bochum and Osameach, and the most extraordinary Baltfila Yom Noroyim. Those who once heard him always continue to hear the reverberations and the echo of his nigunim and the mellowness of his voice. He needs a big refuah shlema. The Rebbeinu Shem should send a refuah shlema to him, and Yeshua's refuahs for all of Klal Yisrael. We should see the light, and we're approaching that moment, then this juncture, which will enable us to hear the sounds, but also to see the sounds, which will be the moment at Sinai. Hashem yitain Yeshua Surafuas for all of Klal Yisrael. Called to